Hey everyone, hi, it's Sue here from Elixir. Hey, I wanted to shoot a quick video because I was at the FPA Roadshow in Perth yesterday morning and they did a live poll on what people are most challenged by. So people in the audience, there were about 300 odd people there. And in the top three issues faced by people, number one was 41% of them said that their biggest issue was going to do the study for FASEA. And in the top three, there were also 33% of them that said running a sustainable business was their biggest challenge, which was kind of interesting given that not everybody in the room were business owners. And it got me to thinking that these are probably, if everybody could pick more than one issue that was facing them, they'd probably pick the two of them. And the challenge with that is that you can't really ignore one while you take care of the other. We know you have to do education to be able to continue to be an advisor, and that's going to vary with each person. But on the other hand, you can't just keep running your business the way you always used to while you complete your study, because by the time you get qualified again, you turn around, your business is not going to be where you want it to be. So how do you juggle these two things over the next few years? Well, one thing is going to be really critical is there's not only the time required, obviously, to do the study, but it's also going to come at a considerable cost. And I know a lot of business owners are also thinking about or tossing up the question of, do they actually pay for their staff to do their study as well? So you want to keep that in mind, as well as finding the time to do it. So the irony of all of this is, if you actually get on board, have a look at how you're running your business, look to find any areas that you can create efficiencies, you're actually going to free up some time to be able to do that study. But the other thing that's really, really important is to actually revisit your pricing model as well. So not only does it mean that you're going to have extra costs in your business because you're going to have to pay for study, you're going to have less chargeable time if you are going to take some working hours to be able to do your study and not necessarily do it in your family time. But that might also mean that the other advisors are going to have less chargeable time too. So the overall hours that advisors can be doing work with your clients might be limited in your business or reduced in the coming years. And of course, the other one, the number two issue for people were keeping up with their licensees' compliance requirements. And they've certainly changed in the last few years. So if you haven't sat back and redone your pricing model in that time, I think it's really important that you do so very soon. Take into account the future costs that you think you're going to have over the next few years, as well as the chargeable time that you've got and the capacity that you're going to have to service your existing clients and bring on new clients as well. And then that's going to give you a lot more clarity around the type of pricing that you need to be implementing, particularly if one of those things that you're going to be doing to evolve your business is to be converting clients that are paying you grandfathered revenue, because it might mean that you need to refine the actual amount of revenue that you're generating from those clients as well. So how do we do all of this? Well, the biggest tip I can give you is absolutely make the time, apply some focus on these really critical issues in your business. And you know what? I know it sounds boring, but it comes down to creating a business plan. Work out what you need to get done to improve those efficiencies, revise your pricing, and plan out your next 12 months to put you in the right position to still run a good business, update it to be sustainable, and get your study done. And the only way that you can do that is to be mindful of where you're spending your time. I see a lot of advisors spending a lot of time, on worry, which isn't very effective, but also talking to people that may not necessarily have the future of their business in mind. Sure, we can lament about how we're not going to be able to do what we used to do. But I think you're going to be far better you're going to be far better placed and get a much better return on investment for the time that you do have to actually apply focus on what's going to bring you the best return on investment. So, we think about this story of the axe and the woodcutter. I love this. I love the line about, a woodcutter is chopping down trees with an axe. And if all he could do would be to stop, take 15 minutes to sharpen his axe, he would be much more effective at cutting down the rest of the trees that he's got. And it's absolutely the same sort of thing when it comes to business planning. So taking time out of the everyday, apply some really quality time focusing on how you're going to restructure your business moving forward. What elements of it, it might not be, it has to be a complete restructure, but what elements of it are you going to evolve so that you can be spending the right amount of time on study and with your clients and continue to be profitable? you could be looking at just studying and just spending time with clients, but if you miss out on that longer term view of changing to be more, implementing more sustainable business practices, again, it's not going to be a good long-term return on investment, which is what you're really wanting to do. When it comes to making that plan, you want to sit down and identify the things that aren't working for you or that you know are not likely to continue working for you. Pick out your top 3 or 4 issues, depending on how big they are, will depend on how many you can pick out. And it's just like starting to eat an elephant. You've got to go one bite at a time. So if you plan out what you can fit in over the next 12 months, make your decisions on where you're going to apply your focus, knowing that you've got the big picture in mind. You can put some of them aside so you can apply great focus on the one thing at a time that you're going to work on, and then you're going to be able to move through it. The other tip that I would suggest too when it comes to study and meeting your FASEA requirements, I had an advisor say to me yesterday, he was still really annoyed, and I get it, that he's been an advisor for 30 years and he's going to have to do, I think he was saying he had 5 or 6 units to do. And some of this stuff were things that he's been doing all in his career. He knows what he's doing. He talks to clients about it every day, and yet now he has to do a unit and complete an exam to be able to tick a box for somebody. Well, the beauty of that, if you're in that same boat, make sure that you have a look at the different universities that have got study options, and the FPA have got their really good site that you can do that, because there's one of them, and I don't want to quote it because I know I'm not going to get it right, but there is one university that's going to allow you to do they call it challenge exams. So rather than actually having to go through lectures or go through a big assignment and exams and so forth, they actually have a challenge exam, which means that you can, if you already know all of the material that is covered by that particular unit, you can do this one exam. And if it is stuff that you deal with every day and you're already a full bottle on it, you're going to be able to pass that exam pretty easily. So if you have some units like that in mind, just be aware of the different elements or different ways that you can actually tick the box for FASEA. So that's it from me today. Please, it's coming up to the end of financial year. Do not let another year slip by when you don't have a really good business plan. Look, if you want to make sure that you do actually set the time aside and that you do it properly, we've just launched our series of workshops. We're calling it our Business Evolution Blitz. So we're doing short interventions where where we can just help you work on your pricing model, just help you work on your business plan and get ready for next year. So if you want to check that out, you can go to www.elixirblitz.com or jump onto our website. You can find some more details there. But even if you don't need our help to do it, for goodness sake, please just spend the time to create some space for yourself, apply that focus and make some good decisions about where you're going, because you can do the study and you can create a sustainable business, and the future will look bright as long as you can get through the next few years. Cheers.